Saw the sign. I opened up my eyes and I saw the sign this week on Beachtown.
Theme song.
Well, the fuck it, that stays in now.
Jesse and Bob are two dudes on the job to brighten your day while gabbing away on a pod. Forget your frown, let's see what's going down in Beachtown.
Whoa, Nelly, sweet mother of pearl heavens to Murgatroyd, every which way from Sunday. We got jokers cracking wise, Weisenheimers on the up and up, hooligans on the straight and narrow, and dames are flipping their lids. We are decking our own balls this week.
Decking the halls in our balls.
Oh yeah, it is deck the halls, isn't it?
With balls of Holland.
It's not deck the balls, huh?
Deck your balls with, yeah. Punch people in the balls.
Well, I learned something new. Welcome everyone. Thank you. We are back here. The both of us are back. The last time you saw us, I was alone. I was solo. I was avant-garde, and now I'm letting my avant-garde down to welcome back my co-host.
You were Bob a la carte.
Yes, I'm more like, but the size of my belly is more like Bob a la mode.
Hey, nice shirt.
Thank you very much. I thank you. You got this for me, actually. Listen to Bob. There's more people. It's nothing to do with Bob Marley. This is all about Bob Hansen. The mayor of San Diego started selling these. I didn't get my check yet. In honor of Bob Hansen Day last month on November 18th of 2021. Anyway, welcome back to the Beachtown Comedy Podcast, the only mental health podcast that actually cheers you up. The rest of them make you sad, and you shouldn't listen to them.
That's right.
We're Jesse Egan and Bob. I am one of those guys. Jesse, what's the skinny? What's the deep dish? How's it hanging, my man?
Hey, it's good to see you. It's good to be back. Sorry I missed the last pod. I threw my back out. I hurt my back. And just been under the weather, just really not doing too hot, Bobby. And it's funny too, because when you hurt your back, at least when you're me, when you hurt your back, everyone wants to know, like, oh, so what, you just slept on it wrong? Is that what you did? You just like slept on it wrong, huh? Because like not one person has assumed that it was some like activity or like physical, like that I did any. Oh, were you like working out, or you were just like pressing and benching and like lifting boulders up over your shoulders and hurling them from mountaintops, like over shoulder boulder hole? No, they're just like, oh, you slept. What, you don't know how to sleep on your fat body? You just can't sleep. You're stupid and fat and don't know even how to rest, your dumb fat body. And that's actually the truth. I can't I can't pretend that I was boxing and you should have seen the other guy. No, I woke up like this.
That's what you did.
The funny thing is, like, I bought one of these fancy beds. I told you about it. It's like one of those adjustable deals where the base can go up and you can, I'm lazy, let me watch TV now, let's back to bed. Well, I'm so lazy that I fell asleep with the thing inclined and I was on my side. And so I think I put a crick in my back from being like, that's what they don't tell you in those Craftmatic adjustables, that, use them improperly and get some sweet ass spina bifida.
I think your bed is the same brand of robot that performed my hernia surgery.
Yeah, that's true.
Guess what I found out?
What's that?
You know how the doctor, he had said to me, hey, listen, on this date, 3, 4, whatever weeks it was after the surgery, I took your bandage off. You are good to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
No, I'm not.
That's a crazy. Yeah.
No, my life has changed, you moron. Like, why would he tell me that?
Like, do whatever I want, and all I've been doing is punching myself in the abdomen. And it hasn't...
No, I've been doing whatever I want. I've been driving backwards up the freeway. I've been stopping old ladies from crossing the street. I've been trapping them in the middle of the street. No, I've been no, I definitely still feel like in my umbilical and my inguinal area, I still feel like the lumps aren't there. Like, he fixed the hernia, but the patches or the nails or the tacks that he used in my belly button, oh yeah, still feel those, by the way.
They still haven't disintegrated?
Not as intense, not nearly as intense. There's just fleeting moments where I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, that's still, I mean, they're easier all the time, but they're not like, I'm not footloose and fancy free. I'm not jumping off the walls and bouncing off the ceiling. I'm not doing backflips or anything. Like, I'm not doing
High
cartwheels.
kicks and punches to the
I've been doing
chest.
some high kicks and some
Still doing
pounds.
those. That's what I
Um,
figured.
I did a few of those.
Have you done stand-ups? Stand up recently where you got back to the kicks and the punches and
I have, and I'm gonna tell you all about that in the middle of our grapes for accomplishment.
okay.
That's my aim. So I
That's
want
my
to save that because I know we want to get to the grapes relatively quickly. But what I was saying was, yeah, I still feel the herniated areas. Basically, he just did the glorified version of. I mean, he duct taped me back together,
right.
so I technically don't have a hernia, but I feel the injury for sure.
Oh, thank you, Dr. MacGyver.
Yeah. I mean, I should have known better when he showed up with like some Elmer's glue and a paperclip. I'm like, I don't know about this Dr. MacGyver.
Yeah, it fixes everything on that.
Yeah, the TV in the waiting room is always on the USA Network. I don't know why that is. But anything before what else we should do before the jump?
Well, just want to give two things. One quick disclaimer, as you guys know, Bob and I are not medical professionals, and we don't know anything about mental health. So if you really have any problems or serious depression, go get help, man. There's a lot of things you could do. Especially they have online counseling now, and we urge you to do that because you live once. You might as well be happy. And I really think a huge component of being happy is putting in the effort to be happy. Don't just expect that life is going to make it that way. I also want to say that I found a cool video filter on Zoom where I can be French. How about that? Huh?
I love how you introduce both those things as equally important messages.
These are very important. Oh, he's sinister. Oh,
and you're ready to solve the case.
Oh, what's that? I don't know. Some sort of a hi, Bob.
For our listeners on Podomatic,
I'm just using different filters on Zoom. All right, I'm going to leave it on this one because it's very festive. See the little dingleberry lights? All right, so make sure you watch this on YouTube. No, that's all I wanted to say, except that we're going to do grapes kind of quick today because today is a special holiday episode where we're going to go through some holiday movies and we're catching up for lost time. So we're going to go through. I've got a couple holiday movies that I watched and I wanted to quiz you on, and then you've got a great movie that I've been I can't wait to hear the synopsis of because
it infuriates me. And we'll get there.
It's the perfect movie for Bob to tell us about. So, but before we get to those, let's quickly go through our grapes. As you guys know, grapes is an acronym that stands with gentle with self, relaxation or rest, accomplishment, pleasure, exercise, and social. And the idea is to try to fulfill all those components during the day, to even track it, write it down. Oh, I went out and talked to the neighbor, social, check, and you'll feel better, and because you have a little bit more of a fulfilled life. So Bob, let's jump right into it. Let's do some grapes.
We ain't doctors, we ain't saviors. Now enjoy the fruits of your labor. Oh, yeah.
I can start, I guess, real quick because I have done nothing. In the past few weeks, I've been injured, and so my gentle with self is just like, boy, I've really been beating myself up. God, I'm getting old. I'm breaking down. Everything. The other day, though, I did stand up. I had an outdoor show, and it was really funny because I had worn one of these holiday shirts up there.
Yeah, you've been rocking some more colorful shirts in recent months.
Yeah, so I'm on stage and I'm doing this, and I start whining about, I wore this shirt because I wanted to look cool for you guys, but now I'm cold, and then it snowballed into this entire rant about what a pussy I am. It was just this whole rant about, and my back hurts, and I hurt and my stomach, and I'm cold. I need to go back to my hospital bed and sleep. It was so I started laughing. It made me laugh. And I guess it's the opposite of being gentle with self, to just rant and rave and attack yourself. But it felt so good. And afterwards, I told Anna about it because she loves my angry rants. And I thought, well, this is a good one because it's a self-deprecating angry rant. And if I could keep it in the act, it just made me feel good to sort of focus on that aspect, but to make it funny instead of always wallowing in your own misery, to be let me make fun of myself for this. Again, I guess that's kind of the opposite of G, but What do you think? You have a better
I think
one?
it's important. It's so important. You have to laugh at yourself. There's and not just because okay, comedians. It's amazing comedians of all the people I've met in my 73 years on Earth. They take themselves more seriously than a lot of dentists, and doctors that I've met. I met one surgeon who could only talk about hernia robots and a glorified Fred Savage Nintendo Power Glove that he used to carve. Enough. I'll leave the hernia alone. Okay. But yeah, taking yourself so seriously, and how far up your own ass can one possibly be when you're going on the stage to say nonsense to a bunch of people who ideally their night will be better, but you're not changing their lives. You're not inspiring them. You're not making them think differently. Oh, really? We're on our phones too much? I needed a comedian to tell me that. No, you assholes. You didn't think of social media is kind of bad sometimes? Oh, I'm glad a comedian told me that. I wouldn't have known. So yeah, you need to make fun of yourself, and I do think that's a good G. It's a good twist on the gentle with oneself for the
Okay,
great
cool. I'm glad that one works. I was like, I don't know. As soon as I started, I was like, oh. But
I'm working with you, Jesse.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Yeah, so that's thank you. I appreciate that. That's my G.
Oh yeah, I appreciate your appreciation.
Wait a second, hold on. I got to put on a mask. How about that, Bob? Look, it's a virtual mask. Digital mask.
Listeners, there's a Zoom filter that puts a mask on you as if there you go. I love the Nintendo shades. There are some comedians that remind me of the first Nintendo. It's always the same 8 bits. I like to
Oh, nice. I like that.
I'll be here all week.
Let me get back to being serious here.
Okay.
I got to stop with these filters. This is
so
distracting right now.
Gonna wait.
You're gonna wait. How about now?
Okay.
Okay.
Jesse is playing with.
Look at that. I'm sleeping.
Jesse is playing with filters for your Podomatic. The people where our numbers are actually bigger cannot have no idea what you're doing.
Okay, let's just forget it then.
But it is sad that Zoom put a mask filter on the human because we needed to be reminded further.
Yeah, really.
That's the most defeatist thing I've ever heard of. What's the matter with you, Zoom?
It's like we're already working from home, Zoom. You know, I'm social distancing. Do I really need a mask on Zoom? What's your G, Bob?
My G, you know what? I don't think I've used this before, but
sorry, let me stop. Okay.
Really stop it. That's very distracting. I don't think I've used this before, but I am not a bad video editor.
No, you're a good video editor.
I'm a handy video editor. I can't make a flyer to save my life, but I'm a good video editor. I'll sneak in the plug here, but a lot of the people who watch this on YouTube have been enjoying my He-Man movie, my 45-minute He-Man movie.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
That, and I have a G.I. Joe one coming up soon. So that stuff's really hard, and I'm in the process. I'm shopping for new video editing software because Pinnacle doesn't work on my new laptop for some reason. Nothing shows up in the viewfinder. It's a whole big mess that's been driving me bonkers. So I keep my old rickety laptop that I can only open at a 70-degree angle. I'm still editing on that.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
It's hurting my back, and it probably didn't do favors for my hernia. So I'm finishing up one more G.I. Joe episode. I was up till 5 a.m. last night editing, doing my stop motions just to make this one scene really work. Because I think the Bob Squad, who we're going to see in the comments, they seem to really like these things, and I know they appreciate the work that I put in, so that once every month or 2 months they can watch 20 to 40 minutes worth of a new show that makes them feel a little warm and fuzzy from yesteryear. And I hope it makes them feel like they're watching a new He-Man or G.I. Joe episode. And thanks to a lot of their generous contributions, a Transformers one should be coming by the time late February. I'm hoping a Transformers one will be done. So and that's going to be really difficult. But yeah, I'm a handy video editor, and every time I'm standing or I'm sitting around going, God damn it, I suck at this. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. What the hell am I good at? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone's good at something. I'm not even good at making these goddamn spreadsheets that I have to copy and paste professionally, because that's my career, because nobody likes comedy anymore. So every time I'm down, and then I go and I edit these things, and I'm like, well, you're good at something, you asshole.
Yeah.
Be gentle on yourself, you fucking asshole.
You dick.
That is my G.
That's
I'm a
great. I
fan.
think that's a great G. And side note, didn't you get a brand new aircraft carrier? Is that the flag, by the way? Because I think you texted me a picture,
No.
but I
I'll
wasn't
tell you.
sure.
Oh yeah, I'll do a side rant because by the time this goes up, my fun boxing on this will be up anyway.
Okay, great.
So on my own Bob Squad channel, of course, they know where to find. Yeah, so the USS flag in GI Joe lore, the actual toy is 7 feet long and 3 feet wide. My bed is
So I was
6.
like, "There's no way you could." I mean, where are you gonna fit that thing? You know?
It was 1985, and excess was best, and
Yeah.
it was just giant toys and leisure suits. No, that was 70s, and rolling up your sports coat and cocaine and I just picture a bunch of coked up guys in Rhode Island. We're gonna make a 7 foot toy. There's barely gonna be anything on it, but it'll be 7 feet long and it cost at the time it cost $100, which just for inflation that's $16,000 today.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm not a mathematician clearly, but they were just coked up. But anyway, I got a Matchbox, a Top Gun movie themed aircraft carrier,
Wow.
extended. It's only 20 inches long. I'll never be able to say that in any other situation in my life. Penises. But it's just, and it comes with, and I have two planes for it. I bought one earlier this year, came with another plane. So basically it's just so I could put the flag, the iconic flag, in my own GI Joe videos and make it part of that world.
Oh, that's cool.
So we can have the flag in, have it take off. I'll do some fake water around it somehow, whatever. And just
that's awesome.
Here
That's
it is.
awesome.
Yeah. It is.
So you can use it, but you don't have the giant full version, like the giant
No.
monster 7-foot one.
No, I'll just maybe I'll make some tiny structures for the structure on the aircraft. And you see the big aircraft, and then you zoom in, and there's the guys at the little building, and I could make chunks of that and be like, hey, it's supposed to be use your imagination. We used to have that when we were kids. Use it again.
We used to.
I know that the viewer. I know that I don't have the flag. Like I don't think I'm fooling anyone. It's for fun. It's just for fun.
Yeah, it's for fun. I think it's really cool that you got that. So moving on to we got relaxation or rest. For myself, it's been tough because I hurt my back, but today we went to Office Depot. I was trying to find a new office chair because 8 hours I'm in this chair and it's a piece of crap. So that's it's red. I mean,
I was just gonna do it. Yeah.
But so I was trying to get a better chair to sort of give me the lumbar support and but yeah, overall, I'm on this 9 to 5 kick now, so I get up early, I go to sleep earlier, and I think it's been much better overall for health and everything. How's your rest going? You still hanging in there?
Night, as I mentioned, I was up till 5 o'clock filming my action figures, so I'm making awesome decisions. I've been doing the thing I swore I would never do when you work remotely. I wake up 20 minutes, maybe 15 before it's time to work. I urinate out of my urethra like a fucking man. I piss out of my dick like a man, like our forefathers did when they wrote the Constitution, pissing out of their dicks like men, like American men.
While they wrote it?
Yeah. We don't know that, but in my head, that's what I see. And
Is that how they signed it?
What's up?
They signed it that way?
And piss, yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Hey, we weren't there.
I wasn't there. I don't know. It could be written in the snow.
But well, it was July. There was no snow. Don't be ridiculous.
Right.
But
there was all that snuff. They were on old timey Coke. That snuff.
That's
you got little boxes of it. They're like,
well, it definitely just fell out of the powder. What do you think the wigs were powdered with?
That's right.
But anyway, yeah. So I've been waking up 15, 20 minutes maybe before, just urinating real quick and taking it. Sometimes I've woken up and just I urinate, your penis again like a man, and then I brush my teeth, and then I sign in, and then later on, like 2 hours later or something, 10:30, I just put the thing on, be right back, and then I take my shower then, and then wake up. So I've been doing the complete opposite of what I was supposed to do. You really should be up like an hour before, at least beforehand, and I don't. I just want that extra half hour of sleep, so my 6 hours becomes 6.5, and it's a little more functional for the day. It's not a good strategy at all. It's really terrible.
Let me ask you this: when 5 o'clock comes, because like for me, as soon as it hits 5 o'clock, I am like exhausted. I need a nap. Yeah. I remember my father coming home from work, and you couldn't talk to him. He was just kind of like beelined it to the bedroom and he would take a nap. But my dad was weird because he would only lay down for like 10-15 minutes and
Yeah.
sleep. Then he would get up and he'd go down to the gym and work out. Like he had exercise equipment downstairs. So I always thought that was incredible, but he said that was like a thing he learned when he was in college, was like to get sleep when you could. So when he gets 15 minutes, he's fully refreshed. Whereas if I fall asleep for 15 minutes, I wake up like a zombie, like, oh, I don't know what year it is. I need a good hour for a nap. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel like at 5 o'clock? Are you burned out? I'm so tired at 5.
I'm more hungry than anything else. Like I just want my dinner.
Don't you miss lunch all the time? I'm constantly like, I don't think I had lunch in 2 weeks now because I've been so busy. I work right through it. I don't know if you do that.
December's my job as well is a really busy month, and it's really so I've worked through some lunches. I know they're not going to pay me for the lunch, so I'm just like, all right. I'm just trying to make. I care more. That's the thing. I'm not a money guy. I care more about being done at 5 than I do about I can work an extra hour and make that extra hour the time and a half. I don't even care.
No,
I should. But I'm just like, I need my time. I need you to leave me alone. Is what I need.
Right. You work long enough and you make enough money. You don't need to work overtime.
Yeah, it's 8 to 5. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of times lately, I haven't even been getting that hour lunch. So it's just 10 hours. That's 10 hours, 8 to 5 with no break. That's long. 10 hours of just like, no, 9 hours. It's 9. Yeah. My bad.
Still long though. Still long.
It's 9 hours of just spreadsheet bullshit. And if that hour overtime has happened a few times, then it is 10 hours. Yeah. So and I've seen people messaging each other at at 8:30 at night. I see the messages left over. I'm like, you guys are out of your fucking minds.
You ever do a quick nap at like when you get off, or you wait?
If I take a nap at 5, what happens is I take that hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and I'll do my workout then. But I'm now going to be up till 1.
Okay.
And that's bad. But what I've been able to sneak in is like during my hour lunch, one time I just signed out. I said I'll eat a sandwich while I work, and I slept for an hour.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that was really helpful.
Yeah.
But still,
that's a good way to do it.
Going to bed on time is the ideal thing, and I can't do it because I just care more about these G.I. Joe movies than anything else because the world is going to end.
Right. So, but before it does, you're going to have some good content,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I personally think like, putting all your effort into the thing you love the most is a really good use of your time.
I agree.
I mean, I feel like what else should we be doing with our life besides the thing we love the most? So the more you do it, I just think it's good for you, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what the doctors say. What about accomplishment? How are we doing on the old a-holes? I'm trying to think if I had any comp.
Well, I'll go then. I'll
lost my credit card twice. That's not a good accomplishment.
For the first time in like 6 or 7 weeks, I did stand-up comedy. I did this on a Wednesday in Little Italy. I parked under a bridge next to a homeless guy, and I did this wine place that you've been there before.
Pally Wine Company.
Yep, Pally Wine Company.
Good show.
I did the show, and a couple of things that make it extra hard when you haven't done stand-up in a bit is, first of all, I'm headlining. I'm going last and doing the most time, so that's a lot of pressure. I can't dip my toes back in with like a 10-minute set or whatever, a 7-minute set. I can't ease back in. It's like, oh, and the pressure's on you for this show to be like, pressure's on you. It's the last thing they remember. You're the big event at the end. It's basically on you if they have a good time or not, more or less. And this particular show is outdoors, and as most performers of any kind know, when you're outdoors, noise goes away, and you never really sounds as well as it always sounds like you're doing worse than you are. Happens in wrestling too, of course. When the WrestleManias are outdoors, I know it drives them crazy, the wrestlers, because they're big noise. They're all kind of. It's like you hear it, but then it disappears. And this particular night was also really cold. It was just so cold. So cold. Do you know which stand-up comedian is really good at outdoor cold shows?
I would think you.
Bill Burr.
That's stupid, but I like
it. It was so stupid, but I had to do it. So I didn't tell you this other part. I'm going to end this with. And I didn't tell you on purpose via text. I wanted to surprise you with this. So anyway, I do my set and I stretched. I took my sweet goddamn time. eye
Nice.
contact, energy. I did the pounds, I did the kicks, I played with the people. I gave them their own pieces of my spiel. I gave pieces of my spiel to them. I played with the super jack guy in the front row. I did all my jokes for the dude with the big muscles and became his buddy and everything else. Whereas everyone before me just went up and told them that they didn't like other races. I know what the fuck was what I was saying for about an hour and 20 minutes before I went up. But at least it was cold. So I go up and I goofed around with the bathroom, like the sign said all genders. I went in, there were no genders. It was empty. Where are the genders? I'm going to complain to the manager. But more important, I did the Phil Collins joke that you like. I was having a conversation with the sound guy beforehand. He remembered me from a speakeasy show I did with Bijan, Mostafavi, and our friend DW over at the This is
when there's trouble, you
call DW. So the sound guy remembered me from that, which is really cool. And he liked my set. And I did 27, 28 minutes. Remember, I didn't think I had 25 when I did the Jay Moore weekend a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But I stretched it and did my stuff. And I did a lot of those one-liners in the middle that you like.
Oh, cool.
Because I did one thing that got a groan. I'm like, you want a groan? I'm going to give you a groan. And then I started banging out the -1 wedding. And I banged out like 5 of those. And they were like, all right. And they hadn't heard a lot of jokes yet. It was just a lot of, hey, this race is stupid. So, and it started off with some guy going on about the Jews. I'm like, well, this is nice. How are they still there? How they stayed? I don't know. This is like 50 of them they stayed. But at the end, when I said thanks, goodbye, I'm done, the sound guy, based on a Phil Collins joke, had queued up the Phil Collins, the drum. He nailed that part right as I said bye.
Oh my
God.
God.
Then started cranking the Phil Collins. And I gave a point, a nod, and everybody kind of nodded, a clap along, whatever. That's how the show ended.
That's amazing.
I was so happy.
Did that get a good laugh or a good reaction?
Yeah, they knew, they got it.
That's so funny.
Especially because there was like one gray-haired guy in the back. Like I made one old reference, I don't remember what it was, and he got it, and I'm like, okay, you're my guy. And then he all went nuts, and everyone put the pieces. They were young, but they put the pieces together.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was good. So I'm back in stand up, and in a couple of hours, I'm doing headlining again. I got another 25 minutes or so. And
oh, that's killer. Where's that tonight?
North Park.
Awesome.
Same promoter.
Oh, great. Yeah, I like him, man. I think those shows are good, and that's great. Yeah, man, that's a good A. I think my A is similar. I got back to stand up too the other day. I did an outdoor show, like you're saying. It was at this like a Montserrat's hotel in Point Loma. So I was like, welcome to Monster's Ass, and then I was like, what are you guys eating? Is that mac and cheese? And the lady's like, no, it's like weird rice. I was like, come on down and eat the weird rice out of the Monster's Ass. And it was cold too. And like we were following like a timeshare group. Like there was like, when we first got there, like these people came up to the comics and they're like, all wearing name tags and like, hi, I'm Kiwi, what are your names? And then we were like, oh, we didn't realize they were all like hustling each other for timeshares and stuff. our show got started late because they went late, and so like when I went up, I was like, yeah, sorry we started late, we got delayed because of the timeshare people, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, if any group should know how to share their time, and then the crowd was like, that shit was funny. So I thought that was a really fun time, especially because it was like me and Bijan and Zoltan, and so like there was other people, but like that crew getting together and getting to hang out and do comedy was super fun. And
those are the best.
And like I was up there and I was like, I'm getting cold. I'm like, I'm up here waiting for somebody to give me the heat light. Goosh. So I had a lot of stupid ad libs, but it was one of my favorite sets recently because it was so loose and it was so, it's such low stakes when you think about like, I'm gonna do this to try to have the most fun I can have. I feel like my sets have been better since then. Instead of being like, I gotta be the best, I gotta make money, I gotta get bookings. It's more like I just want to have the best time on stage. And I remember Joe Charles. You remember Joe Charles, the comedian back in the day? He used to say, I think that the key to stand up is to make it look like you're having the time of your life, and that the crowd, the audience, are just lucky enough to get to see it. And I always thought that was amazing because I never got that vibe from Joe Charles that he was
Oh.
having the time of his life up there. He'd always be like, look at you judging me in your black socks and flip-flops, you know, that type of shit. Like he never seemed to be enjoying it, but I think he sort of got that inspiration from Joe King or Joe Sinclitico. And I like to keep that in the back of my mind that like the more you look like you're really having a blast, like it is infectious. Like the crowd, like I was wearing, I think this exact stupid shirt when I was up there, and I just start my set by just like standing there. I'm like going like, happy holiday, you know, and it's that like moment of silence of them looking at this guy in this dumb shirt. It just like gets laughs and it was just a good feeling, you know. So I think that would be my A.
That's a good A.
Yeah.
I always felt like the goal of stand-up was to crush your enemies and hear the lamentation of the women.
See them driven before you. It's amazing. P for pleasure. I guess I could segue off of that last show. I did one other one recently at the Laugh Factory. They had me do the weekend, and I thought I was the feature, so I thought there was going to be a host, a feature, and the headliner. But when I get there, I realized two things. Number one, there's a bigger line for whoever this headliner is than I've ever seen at the Laugh Factory. Now, I thought when I got the phone call that I was getting booked to open for this guy Max, who I had done my dry bar recording with a fellow named Max, and I just thought it must have been Max, the same guy. But I get there and it turns out it's Max Amini, who's this Persian comic with this humongous following. I don't know how he got my number, but like I think it was maybe through the Laugh Factory, and the Laugh Factory had me come in. So the second thing I found out is I'm only doing 10 minutes at the very top, and then he's doing over an hour. So there's no host, it's me, and the show is starting super late because they are packed in there. They're like, they must have been 300 people in a 200 person room. They were seating people in the aisles. They had chairs. People, I was like, we're going to bring in some more homeless people. They're going to sit on your lap. And just a really insanely, like, I've never seen it that busy where the show literally started like 40 minutes late. And then the second one, it was insane. Mm-hmm. But the funniest part of that show was on the Saturday. I remembered the lesson that Lou Brockman told me, because there was a time when we were on tour and I was featuring for Vicky everywhere, the middle act. But at this one spot, I think it was in Spokane or somewhere, it turns out they had booked a feature. And so I was going to be the opener. So I'm hosting the weekend, and Lou told me, he goes, remember, when you're hosting, you do it differently. You don't just go out there and dive into your material because they haven't been warmed up yet. So he reminded me to like warm them up, ask them a few questions. And it like came to my mind on that last show. I said, hey, are we celebrating anything? Anybody celebrating any birthdays, anniversaries, gender reveals, whatever? And this one guy on the side goes, yeah, it's my birthday. And I go, oh, nice. What's your name? And he goes, Jeff. And I'm like, yeah, Jeff, good Persian name, Yeah. And the whole audience just like loved that. So I said, thank you, Lou. That was like my first thought was like, Lou Brockman comes through again, But that would be my I think my P would be that in fact, that specific moment of calling out the birthday guy and saying, Jeff, good Persian name,
Right.
This was like so much fun. It made me laugh, made the crowd laugh, and it kind of like made that set go really well, I thought. But what do you got in your P tank?
Well, thanks to a generous gift box, I got some cool stuff from Boba Hicks. And actually, quick sidebar. Last episode I did like 2 weeks ago, the one I went solo, I talked about Ghostbusters 2. Mm-hmm. 89. Plenty of well wishes for you from various Beachtown.
Oh, that's so nice.
And Sons of Beaches. So they were all waiting on you. But
thank you, Bob Squad and Sons of Beaches. I appreciate that, and your love is definitely felt like right here in my lumbar area, right here in the lower spine of Biff.
Well, I was one of the things that Mark of the OG Bob Squad has sent along. I sent a few comic books. One in particular I just finished reading 2 nights ago, Megatron Origins from the IDW people. So basically, this is a beginning of the Megatron character, which you don't see a whole lot of, and it's beautifully drawn. I'm gonna find.
Can I see that one more time? I just zoomed in a little bit there.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
Here's what I'll do. I'll open up one of the big full pages for our
Oh, look
YouTube
at
viewers.
that.
There we go.
You know,
So gorgeous.
Decepticons are so cool. That purple and that logo are just so cool.
They really are. And unfortunately, it's out of my reach right now. But my buddy Brian Yang, who works for an evil billionaire I can't name, sent me some cool toys, a movie Megatron from the Michael Bay movies, and a Galvatron, which I've never had a Galvatron of any
Oh,
kind.
that's awesome.
Unfortunately, it's way out of reach, but he sent me some cool stuff. So I've been reading up, and I got myself, like I was reading the issue 100 of G.I. Joe.
Oh, that's badass.
Cover.
Yeah.
So I just started reading this. So I've just been reading the stories.
Was that Cobra Commander there?
Yes.
So what's the story like? Sometimes he has a hood, and sometimes I'm thinking of Destro, huh? That has the silver.
Well, no, you're still right.
Face.
This Cobra Commander does have both.
He does, right? Okay. I thought.
He
so
has
what?
A metal faceplate. There's a bit of a controversy right now,
Is it?
where lately in new G.I. Joe modern figures, they don't do the hood anymore. They just do his reflective faceplate, because there are those who have said, or I guess Hasbro feels, that the hood reflects some kind of like Klan KKK imagery.
But he's a villain, so it's like
he's a villain, but I don't know. So I was, torn on that. My knee-jerk reaction, of course, when I initially heard that was like, oh, come on. I've never thought of the KKK when I saw Cobra Commander. And then I rethought it and went, well, no shit, you haven't. You were a suburban white kid, so that's not going to conjure up anything.
sure.
Now, at no point in any version of G.I. Joe, comic book, cartoon, etc., has Cobra Commander been anything but just a terrorist, and has had nothing to do with those organizations.
Right.
In any version of G.I. Joe.
Thank goodness.
I mean, it's a different hood, it's a different color, it's a different shape, but it was just a quick, I don't want you to see me, but I don't know. I guess
I get it. Yeah.
But
that looks like a cool comic, though.
It is so far so good. I've heard good things. So
that's awesome.
Either way, I like so I'm happy with my metal faceplate Cobra Commander, because you get cool animation where you see other people's reflections in his face.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually, and many comic books have covers like that. There'll be a big Cobra Commander head.
Right. So his face was just silver, right? It was just like a silver dome, and then Destro had like a silver face, but it was actually like a face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's the way I remembered it.
That's the way to
Cool.
That's why G.I. Joe there.
That's awesome, man.
That's my pleasure. What about exercise?
What about exercise, Bob? I have taken a couple walks on the pier, and it's about the most I can do right now to even get out of the house and walk around. Dave, usually comes by on Mondays on my lunch break, and we'll take a walk. And it's been really difficult, man. I've been just having so much pain. Sometimes it's harder sitting, and then I'll stand for a while, and then that hurts, and then I'll lay, and I just keep switching it out. But mostly just stretching. I don't know what kind of exercising you've been doing, but I wish I could go swimming or something.
No, totally. Well, it's so cold.
24-hour fitness is too cold.
24-hour fitness. That's a bummer. Because it's important to move around.
She's going to force me to go to the doctor. She told me I have to call tomorrow and see if they'll give me any kind of cortisone or steroids or anything. And so she's sick of it. Yeah. She's basically like, you have to go into the doctor tomorrow. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I got to deal with it.
But that's the worst, when you have someone who cares enough about you to make you go to a doctor.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Have you been exercising since the hernia?
I think it was Thanksgiving Day. I started. I'm the guy who starts his exercise program on Thanksgiving, because that's
right after stuffing.
I know it was beforehand, of course, but I needed to work up that appetite.
Yeah.
So I started the new Bob Fit program.
Oh, nice.
And in addition to, of course, I take my half hour, maybe 40-minute walks on my days off. So basically what I'm doing is, instead of specific days, I used to have back day, shoulder day, chest and arms. Now I just have this one workout that I'm already going to get bored with, but it's a much lighter version of just resistance bands. My weights are still collecting dust. I haven't touched them. Resistance bands and some body weight exercises. I'm doing a lot of pelvic thrusting. I'm thrusting my pelvis because I want to work my glutes. I want to have more shapely buttocks. And I get my shapely buttocks by thrusting my pelvis. So if you can picture that, I invite everyone.
Stand in your house and thrust?
I just thrust. I lay down on my back and I thrust upwards. So I lay down With my
Vigorously.
hand flat, and I thrust down and thrust
Okay.
and thrust.
This reminds me of Tenacious D with their cock push-ups.
What's a cock push-up? Do I
They
want to know?
you'd have to lay down on the floor on
Yeah.
on your stomach, and your boner gives you you can try to do one push-up from your boner.
No way.
No, exactly. It doesn't work, and you can't do that. You probably break your wiener, but they do it in
Yeah.
the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Well, that's good that you've been thrusting. I like
Thrusting.
that. It's good. Maybe I'll try that when my back is thrustable again. So I think that brings us to S. Have you been out of the
S.
house much to visit with people, or we
Not as much as I like to, but thankfully I had the comedy this Wednesday and tonight. But what I did do, I want to say last Saturday, 8 days ago as of this recording, I had a bit of an ice cream social. I went to see our old friend DW at Pacific Beach Ice Cream Co. at 1010 Grand Avenue at the corner of Granite Cast, a few blocks from the ocean, with delicious ice cream and parking.
and there's trouble, yeah.
You called
DW.
I went in.
The funniest thing is now everybody that goes there calls me afterwards to tell me how funny it was, going to see Dave. And
Yeah.
Bajan's like, "Oh, I brought my whole family over there," and they were overwhelmed. They leave and they're like, "That was a bit much." Like his younger brother was like, "I didn't really expect the ice cream to be that good after that."
Ice cream is so freaking
ice
good.
cream
It's
is the best. It's the best in the world. And I actually think Dave's a great salesman, and maybe he's too much for some people, but for us, we find it very entertaining.
I find it so entertaining. I was so entertained just sitting there. He's like, because I'm just sitting down by myself, and Dave's like, I'm going to come over in a bit. I'm like, Dave, take your time, because I know you're obviously working, you're running a business. Don't worry about me. And also, I am entertained as all hell.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to you talk to the customers.
Yeah.
There was a guy, Michael from LA. I'm like, Dave must have gave him a spoon sample of every single ice cream he had. And Dave's not even, he's pushing it on the guy. You gotta try one of these. They try one of these. And he's got the used spoon, the metal things where and it's just adding up. Like, this guy's going through every goddamn, this guy just had a freaking cup of ice cream talking to Dave, deciding what he wants. This guy just.
It'd be funny if the guy finished and was just like, okay, thanks, and then leaves, He's like, I'm going to try this at the hand job massage place next door now.
That's right. Because originally I just went there. Well, originally I just went there for a hand job, but I'm like, what? I'll say hi to Dave.
I told Anna what you said about that. She was dying laughing because you called me and you're like, I was going to prank Dave, but like he has some teenager working. But
yeah,
what you told me you were going to do, you're going to just walk in there.
Basically, and I'll backtrack. The reason I didn't do it is because he's got like teenage girls at the cashiers working there.
Right. And also just to backtrack even further, we should establish so people, if they don't remember, right next to Dave's ice cream shop is a massage parlor that we affectionately call Sucky Sucky Fuck Down, and it may be a legitimate massage parlor. We don't know, but to us,
don't care.
It doesn't matter. It definitely looks like a full release massage parlor. And so, what were you gonna say? You're gonna go.
My plan was to come in hoping that Dave will be by himself at the register, and be like, Dave, just went in town for a hand job. Thought I'd say hi. How are you?
Yeah, I was telling Anna that I was like, when we go over there, we got to just walk in and be like, that was a good hand job. Thanks a lot. What's in this place? Oh, ice cream. Maybe we should try this. Just to make it look like you're trying every store in this mini mall. Just like, oh, I bought some shoes, got a handy, and what's this? A sundae?
It's the same way you're trying a sample of each ice cream. You're trying to sample each place in that mini mall.
Totally. Yeah.
I'll try a little bit of the Christmas peppermint bark, which I recommend. It's a great holiday flavor. I only got the Italian water ice, because the Italian ice, because I didn't want to get a bunch of ice cream. Then he gave me a sample of the peppermint holiday bark. I walked out with a pint of peppermint bark to go. So goddamn good.
I'll just have a cup of water, and then he walks out with gallons of ice cream.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, it was tremendous.
That's a good S. That's a fun time.
Good S.
We got together with Meryl and Jack at the Hotel Del for our Soch, and it was really funny because we meet up at the Hotel Del, and there's this guy that just sort of pops up who I see in OB. He used to come to all the shows at Winston's and come to like the punk rock shows. And he's just kind of this little odd dude, and he just kind of shows up out of nowhere. And it's like, hey, how you doing? And then he's like in our photos with us, and like we kept trying to. We're on like a double date, so we're just trying to be like, oh, he went to the bathroom. Let's go this way, you know. And then, you know, he kept like just showing up and just talking about random people. Meryl, do you remember John Fox? He used to play, and we're just like, I don't remember, you know. And kind of a odd dude, but like, you know, he kept being like, I had some mulled wine earlier, and just like you just turn around, he'd be right there. Like one time we were like, he goes, oh, you want to go see the ice rink? And we're like, no, we saw it earlier, you know. And then like he went off, and Jack's like, come on now, and we're like, we bolted it to the ice rink thinking, oh, he won't follow, you know, where. And I'm like, almost there, and then he pops up, he's like, I had mulled wine earlier. I was like, oh my god. We're like, he scared the crap out of me. And then we were like leaving, we're like, okay, well, it's nice to see you, we're gonna go now. And we're like walking, trying to like go by the beach, and there's like all these big sand castles and sand, like a snowman made out of sand. And Jack's like, what if he jumps out of that sand, man? Like right now, just like, I had mulled wine earlier. I was like, oh my god. Like it was it was the weirdest like example of going to get some social interaction and then immediately finding too much, you know. Yes. Being like, this is more than I needed, you know. And I haven't been at Winston's in so long, I don't remember the bands and things he's referencing, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But you know,
was he referring to bands that played at Winston's when you used to that place?
Yeah.
Winston's Bar and Grill. Winston's not bar and grill. Winston's Beach Club on 1921 Bacon Street, Ocean Beach, California, 92107. That Winston's.
Don't park at Vaughn's.
Don't park at Vaughn's. Good luck.
But yeah, so that's my social. But you know what, Bob, we were supposed to wrap this grapes up quickly because we got some real holiday spectacular to bring to you people. Bob, are you ready? Can we get right into At the Theater?
Let's waste no more time. Hit it.
Do it. At the Theater.
Popcorn and previews, movies and reviews at the theater. At the theater.
Okay, I got a special one for you. I've never done an At the Theater. I'm not really going to do the full synopsis like Bob does. All I'm going to really do is tell you that we're going to compare and contrast, and we're going to basically do a quiz that you guys can play at home. And we're going to do a quiz based on two of my all-time favorite Christmas movies. All right, so we're talking Home Alone versus Die Hard. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. Reginald Vell Johnson shot a kid. Now let's start the movie review stuff. I was always going to do this one. I was going to do this one too. I was because I always love when you do that. I was going to go. Joe Pesci threatened to bite the fingers off a child. All right, let's start the movie stuff. Okay,
that was a good one.
So I just want to start by saying that I watched both of these movies recently. I love them so much, and I realized something very interesting. There's a lot of similarities here. Let me give you a quick synopsis, and you tell me what film I'm talking about. Okay, a normal person who, as the result of being distanced from his family, finds himself trapped in a place invaded by criminals during Christmas, soon realizing that he's the only one who can do anything about it. He's unequipped and unable to get help from allies until it's nearly too late. Our protagonist must use his wits and improvised weaponry to take out the bad guys. What movie am I talking about?
Wow. It's the same film.
Maybe. All right.
Okay.
Let's do a little quiz here. In which movie does the leader of the criminals initially attempt to deceive the protagonist by passing himself off as a good guy?
I'm going to say Die Hard.
That's a good guess, because Hans Gruber, when he first actually meets Bruce Willis, he pretends to be William Clay or Bill Clay, right?
Okay.
The answer is both, because in the Home Alone movie, the villain, Joe Pesci, first passes himself off as a police officer, shows up as a good guy to their house.
Huh.
And he's like, oh my God. In basically the first action sequence, the first like scene of violence, someone is shot directly in the head. In what movie?
Die Hard wouldn't go there so quickly. I don't remember. I think Hans falls to his death. So
I'm
gotta
talking
go
the
home.
very first action of the film.
Gotta go home alone.
Right. In Home Alone, right? The guys come to the door and Daniel Stern pops his head through the doggy door and gets shot right in the head. But it's actually, the answer is both movies. Tanaka, right? The head of Nakatomi Corporation.
Okay.
Is that his name?
Yeah,
I
don't
forget his
remember. It's
name.
been a
But
while.
anyway, he's shot directly in the head by Hans Gruber in the very first violent scene in the film.
Oh,
By the way, in that same, let me ask you this one. This is kind of a trick question. Which film does someone get shot right in their ween? Someone
oh,
gets shot in the dick.
ugh. Get shot in the
The trick
dick.
question. It's really that same scene where they come to the doggy door and Home Alone, he comes out through the doggy door, points it right, his rifle right at Joe Pesci's nuggets and
Oh.
blasts him. But it's debatable because in Die Hard, he's running under this table and the guy's like, "You ran out of table. Should have shot me when you got a chance." And he's like, "Good advice." And then he shoots him in the legs like 80 times. And I assume one of them gets him in the ween. But
Oh, okay.
let's
Yeah.
move on.
Let's hope so.
Here's the next question. If people are playing at home, see if you can get this one. In which movie does a barefoot character cut their feet on broken glass?
We know it definitely happens in Die Hard. The question is, does it happen in Home Alone? Because I think that's at least it's a part of Die Hard that sticks in my mind. I don't know why.
Shoot the glass. Right?
I'm gonna say
All the bad guys shoot all the glass, and then Bruce Willis runs across him and cuts the hell out of his feet.
I'm gonna stick to my guns and say Die Hard only, because why would the Home Alone burglars take their shoes off to begin with? I'm gonna go with
Good
Die
point.
Hard.
I'll tell you why. Because they had to go up a flight of stairs, and the tar that he put on those stairs stripped their shoes off. And then when Daniel Stern goes through the window, he steps on glass ornaments really friggin' hard and cuts his feet all up. So both movies again. Okay. Which movie has a scene where a character escapes a building on a rope and then swings and smashes against the side of that building?
Gotta be both.
That's true. You're getting the hang of this. At the end of Home Alone, he has the guys go out on the rope and then he cuts it and they swing and smash into the side of the building. And in Die Hard, he jumps off the top of the building, tied to a rope. It's basically a hose, and then smashes into the side of the building and gets into the window. In which movie is a character hung? He's hung up on something, but is not actually dead.
I'm gonna go Home Alone only.
In Home Alone, at the end of the movie, the burglars take him and put him on the thing, and then Joe Pesci's like, "I'm gonna eat your fingers," or whatever he says. And in Die Hard, he hangs that last villain on a chain, and he says, "I'm gonna cook you, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna kill you," whatever.
Yeah.
Similar horrible dialogue, but then he hangs him on a chain. The guy comes back to life later, and that again, both. In which movie is the final blow delivered not by the lead, but by another character who was a complete stranger at the beginning of the film, but is now an unlikely friend?
I'm gonna say in Home Alone, and Home Alone is the one I've seen less, like a longer time ago. It's got to be some kind of scenario, like a weird neighbor he doesn't talk to, or something like that. Like the weird old guy the kids are afraid of, or something. Some weird neighbor guy.
Yeah, it's the weird old neighbor guy with the snow shovel, and they're saying, "Oh, he buries kids," or whatever. Turns out to be a good guy at the end of the movie. He whacks the guys with a snow shovel and saves Kevin McAllister, who is hanging on a hook. But it's the exact same thing in Die Hard, because his buddy now, Al Powell, Reginald L. Johnson, who we didn't know at the beginning, is the guy that delivers the final blow by blowing away that guy who was on the chain, who did not actually die. He comes back, comes running at him, and Sergeant Al Powell, who shot a kid, now finally redeems himself and shoots.
Well, of course, he never meant to shoot the kid. I remember him telling that story, because to him, family matters.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like a kid with a ray gun. I don't know. I don't know how he got right back on the street with guns and Twinkies, but he did. How about this one? In which movie does the exact same thing happen 2 years later, except on the East Coast, beginning with the hero being separated from his family at an airport? This time there's more running around outdoors. Hint, it keeps happening a couple more times until everybody stops caring.
Wow, that's clearly both films.
That is both films. Yes.
And
Both
I've never seen
films.
Die Hard 2. But if I know anything from my recent what's the Liam Neeson one? Taken?
Yeah.
Taken 2 and 3. I kind of know there's a similar arc of how these things tend to go with the sequels and whatnot.
Yep. Die Hard 2 is in an airport. Same thing. And so yeah, that's my synopsis, basically saying that Home Alone and Die Hard are the same film, or at least they have a lot of similarities. The only difference I really think is that when Bruce Willis kills someone, they die, whereas when Kevin McAllister kills someone, they continue to invade his home. I mean, he kills those wet bandits like 20 times. I made a list of the violence against these guys. You know, he shoots them in the face, he shoots them in the nuts. Ice causes them to fall downstairs and break their back. Then the other one breaks his back. Then he booby traps a light cord, and an iron comes down and smashes him in the head. Then a heated doorknob burns the hell out of his hand, and then the tar on the stairs and the nail through his foot, and then he falls down the stairs again. The booby traps the back door, and a torch blasts off Joe Pesci's head. Then he walks through a sticky plastic thing, gets hit with feathers, which is the only like non-lethal attack in the whole friggin' movie, you know. And then the barefoot guy, he abandons the basement, goes through the window, smashes on the jagged ornaments. Why'd you take your shoes off? Why the hell are you dressed like a chicken? I'm up here, you morons. He runs upstairs. They get hit. They get slipped on. Micro machines break their backs again. Then they run up the stairs, and Joe Pesci steps on Daniel's sternum. Now they're hurting each other. Joe Pesci dodges the first paint can. The second one smashes Daniel Stern in the face. The third one smashes Joe Pesci in the face. They make it up. They get toppled by another obvious booby trap. You're missing some teeth at this point. This is my theory. The wet bandits are called the wet bandits, not because they leave the water on, but because they're getting wet on PCP. There's absolutely no way these guys would survive these attacks if they weren't jacked up on angel dust. So that's my real theory here.
Let me ask you this. Home Alone, the first one came out in 1990. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
When did the first Die Hard come out?
Oh, that's a good question. You think that they ripped off Home Alone? Huh?
I don't think I'm saying I don't think the first two are more than a year apart. Is what I'm saying.
Right. Let's see. Let's look it up right now.
Yeah, let's look it up right now.
Let's see. Die Hard. Hans Gruber. Die Hard looks like 1988.
Okay.
Die Hard is 1988. And Home Alone 1 is 1990.
Okay, it's 2 years. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, so then that means that Home Alone basically ripped off Die Hard. I guess that's what happened. They were like, yeah, this is pretty good, but
Ain't bad.
Anyway, so that's my
and we made the kid do the thing that everyone does and yada yada yada.
So that's my first attempt at the theater. I hope you enjoyed it. If anyone was playing along at home, I wonder how you guys did on guessing which movie was which.
Out the gimmick before I did, but that's
yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy when you go through. I did it last night with some people, and it was the same thing. They would guess one or the other, not realizing, yeah, it's really a lot of similarities in these movies. So
Hollywood just makes the same shit. Well, speaking of, would you like to find out what movie I watched for at the theater?
I'm thrilled. I actually know what it is, but I'm so excited because I've been mentioning this one to you before to say like, hey, when are you going to do this one? When are you going to do that one? So I'm stoked that you're finally doing it, and I can't wait. Now, this isn't really, you wouldn't consider this a holiday movie per se, right? No. But it definitely has that sort of arc of a character, going through some changes and
you could call it a holiday movie because there is a vacation taking place that ends on Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of Labor Day films.
It's true. And the movie we're talking about is
What About Bob?
Yes. Oh, it's so good. I can't wait to hear the synopsis. I haven't seen it in a little bit, and I love this movie.
The film we're talking about is What About Bob, starring Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss.
Reginald Vell Johnson shot a kid. Sorry.
You know which one I did last week or 2 weeks ago for Ghostbusters '89? I wish you were here for this one. I do. Okay, Ghostbusters '89. New York City is covered in slime and everyone is an asshole.
Now for the movie.
We are recording in 5, 4.
That's perfect. It's covered in slime and everyone's an asshole. Now for the movie.
Okay. Anyway, now that we've done that
Now
joke,
that we've got that.
not going to do it again.
I
You
love
ready
it.
for What About Bob?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Bill Murray is mentally ill and actually is very annoying. And in 3, 2, we're talking about What About Bob? I think it came out in 1990, probably starring Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. This movie shows us how, and it's perfect for this podcast because it completely takes mental illness not seriously at all and makes a big joke. Richard Dreyfuss is a cocky doctor named Leo Marvin, and he doesn't care about his patients. He just cares about his book. He's a great doctor, but he only cares about his ego, and he's going to have a book that they're going to talk about on Good Morning America, which makes me believe there was some kind of studio connection going on one way or another.
Oh yeah, probably.
Anyway, right before he goes to vacation, he has this patient dumped on him in the last minute, and the guy's name, of course, is Bob. Now, true to Hollywood form, there's so much Bob shaming going on in this film. It's bad enough they got us as sponges. They got us as builders. They got us making hamburgers. They got a furniture store appropriating our culture. And what's worse, you think it's bad when Scarlett Johansson gets shoved into these roles that people are mad about? They didn't even get a real Bob to play Bob. They got a Bill, like it's the same thing, and it's not. But of course,
travesty.
Hollywood Bob washes the entire thing.
They Bob washed it.
And they make a Bill play a Bob because he's cool and he's such a cool guy. He's kind of a jerk, but that's why he's cool. Well, maybe if he was less of a jerk, we would have had the 4 Ghostbusters alive again for the 3rd time, you fucking fuck. You fake Bob.
So I love that new Ghostbusters, by the way.
Arguably
That was a
great
good recommendation. Yeah, thank you.
So anyway, we make a big joke and they play silly music as Bill Murray, Bob the mental patient. He has trouble leaving the house and he has a bit of OCD and he's scared of germs. He's a complete germaphobe. So of course he lives in Manhattan, New York City, where it's not crowded and there's no germs. So naturally he would live there, right?
Perfect.
So he's having a terrible time getting in elevators and getting on buses, and everyone knows him. And they all say the name Bob several times. And finally, Richard Dreyfuss is like, yeah, hey, secretary. He didn't say receptionist yet because this is the 90s. He said, hey, secretary, send him in. Yeah, she had a name. Who cares? And then Bob comes in, and Richard Dreyfuss just stares at him and doesn't ask many questions and just lets Bob talk expose himself for being a crazy person. And then Bob lets on that he's divorced and he has trouble leaving the house. And he has to wake up early and he can't leave the house till noon because of all these things. And he has a fish called Gil because it's a fish and fish have gills. LOL, get it? Being mentally ill is hilarious. So anyway, basically Leo Marvin just gives him a copy of the book and he tells the secretary to bill him for the visit and the book, of course, because he's a jerk for the bill him the extra $19.99 for the book. And he tells the guy, listen, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to take my family to New Hampshire. We have a summer house. And meanwhile, Bob is memorizing the family. He's like, oh, that's the fam, that's the daughter. And he guesses the names incorrectly. And oh, that's your sister Lily, who we don't see again for another hour and a half. Something got deleted there. There's no way about it. So anyway, Bob is nervous, and the name of the book is Baby Steps. So he takes it literally, and he takes tiny little steps. And he's trouble leaving the office, and he circles around the office, and he gets into the elevator, and in the elevator, out of the elevator, and he's still afraid of germs, and everyone's just having a hooting and hollering, and then yelling at him because he's sick. And then so Leo Marvin, played by Richard Dreyfuss, he's done killing sharks, and he takes his family, and his wife was the lady, the flight attendant, not the stewardess, the flight attendant in Airplane, and also the mom and Freddie Got Fingered.
Okay.
So she's
I
like
remember that.
really like nice and stuff, and she plays like the super nice ditzy. She plays that character in every film. So that's his wife, and of course he's got it's 1990, but it's pretty much the 80s. He's got two siblings who hate each other and
They
fight
hate
for no
each
reason
other.
in every one of these fucking movies.
They're
And
assholes.
anyway, they're up in New Hampshire and there's a lake and there's a nice house and they're having a great time. But Bob is persevering. He keeps calling in the hotline to talk to Leo Marvin, which he's not supposed to do. And then he pretends that he fakes suicide. LOL. That was hilarious because he shows up at the hotline's literal headquarters and he pretends to be a detective and he holds up a badge real quick that actually says Blue Shield, which is an insurance company in the U.S. So he's pretending to be he's impersonating a police officer, and he tells the hotline lady who wouldn't put him through that Bob Wiley, that was his name, Bob Wiley, kills himself, LOL. And then they go, oh, okay, well, this is terrible. Here's the number. Here's where Dr. Moore, here's his address where he's staying. And Bill Murray, pretending to be a detective, decides, oh, okay, this is totally ethical. And he uses that address to get on a bus to go from New York City to New Hampshire, which must have taken 16 hours. And he gets into town and he's just yelling around town for Leo Marvin. And Leo Marvin sees him from a distance. He's like, holy shit, that's that patient I saw for 10 minutes once. And he takes his family and he drives off and Bob catches him and Leo Marvin agrees to meet him. But then Bob finds the people who run the local diner, and those people don't like Leo Marvin because he bought the house they wanted to buy. So they give Bob the guy's address, and Bob shows up at the door and he won't go away. He's like the guy who liked the mulled wine at the place for your social.
I had mulled wine yesterday.
Richard Dreyfuss keeps yelling at him like, this is wildly inappropriate, for the patient-doctor relationship. And you lied, and we all thought you were dead. And Richard Dreyfuss is totally right and makes all these great points, but he's also kind of a dick about it. So the whole family yells at him, and they embrace Bob for being silly. And Bob gets along well with the 12-year-old, and then Bob ends up in the car with the teenage daughter, and everyone is cool with that. And Richard Dreyfuss is like, why is this mental patient literally like you're just going to let him drive around the car with my teenage daughter? And then everyone's like, what's the big deal? And Richard Dreyfuss totally makes sense, but because he's angry and worried about Good Morning America, everyone just dismisses him. And that's when Bob yells about the sailing because he's tied up because he's afraid of everything. And then it's hilarious just to tie him up and force him to go down the lake in a boat. And then the family adopts him, and it won't stop raining, so they take him in, they give him dinner, he spends the night, and they let him sleep in the same bedroom as the doctor's 12-year-old son. And that was 100% cool. No one thought that was weird at all. They're like, he'll be fine there. And then they both Bill Murray and this 12-year-old son pretend they have Tourette's so they can curse. They make fun of people with Tourette's and germaphobes and ACD and borderline personality disorders. And then finally, it's time for the big interview. Good Morning America. They come in and Richard Dreyfuss freezes because he's on national TV live and he's stuttering, or he just rattles off some pre-rehearsed stuff. And they bring in Bob, of course, Bill Murray, who Richard Dreyfuss thought was going to leave. And Bob takes over the interview, and he's charming, and the interview goes great because he's fun. But then Richard Dreyfuss thinks he ruined the interview, and he kicks Bob out, and the family's mad at the doctor for being mad at Bob. And then Richard Dreyfuss starts going crazy, and he decides to break into an ammo store and murder Bob, right?
He snaps pretty quick, doesn't he?
Yeah, he snaps very quickly. And he takes this dynamite or this gunpowder and he straps it to Bob as he duct tapes Bob to some log or something like that. And then of course Bob gets out, and the family, the mother from the airplane and the two kids are driving around town looking for Dr. Leo, looking for their father and husband, and they're driving around the streets and it's just mostly woods. And then finally, what happens is Bob shows up. And he's like, I realized your methods, Dr. Marvin. I realized you were trying to tell me I'm all tied up inside. That's what you were. He doesn't understand. He never takes the hint because he's bad in social situations. And then Richard Dreyfuss goes, Bob, what did you do with the bags? And he goes, oh, I left them in the house. And then the entire home blows up. And the family could have been murdered if they just didn't happen to be in the backyard. But everyone glosses right over that. And then Leo Marvin is institutionalized in the same institution that he tried to institutionalize Bob in earlier, but it's like a 180. It's a flipperoo. It's a switcheroo right there. And Leo Marvin is now a mental patient in a straitjacket, and Bob goes on to marry the sister who we saw an hour and a half ago. And then Richard Dreyfuss stands up, and when the priest says, "Does anyone object?" he stands up, but he can't talk. And then the priest says, "I pronounce you man and wife." And that's when Leo Marvin goes, "No, we should have had a bigger boat or something."
Yeah.
And then, but he didn't get it in time. And now Bob is part of his family and won't go away. And the mental illness was never actually treated. We actually made another guy worse. And that is what about Bob.
That's a great synopsis. So
Thank you.
really, yeah. So Bob gets better sort of by default, whereas Richard Dreyfuss just goes crazy at the same time. So
He gets
really,
better at his doctor's expense.
yeah, role reversal. And then does the family care at all that they've lost their father to a mental institution, and or they're
They
just
get him
happy?
back, but he's in a wheelchair for no reason because he can walk.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like in a vegetative state and makes funny faces.
And where do they live now that their home's been blown up?
Well, I think they lived in New York City anyway.
Oh,
That was
it's
a
just
summer
their
home.
vacation home that got
Their
destroyed.
vacation home has been blown to smithereens, and they could have all easily, had they not been out looking for the wandering Dr. Leo Marvin, they all would have died. And that's totally cool.
Wow.
At
What
one
a
point-
crazy movie.
Yeah.
And great synopsis. I gotta say, it really it reminds me of how funny that film was. But overall, I mean, how do you compare it to other comedies? Or I guess I would say, like, if you had to give us a review in like a short phrase or just like one sentence review of this film, overall, how would you rate this?
Now, granted, there is a bias because of the Bob shaming, which I don't really care for. But that being said, can't believe I'm doing this. I told myself I wasn't going to give this to Bill, but if I'm anything Jesse Egan, I'm a fair man. Arguably the greatest film ever made.
Wow, that is high praise, arguably. And
I'm a
it's
better
amazing,
man for
Bob.
it.
What a great synopsis and great review. We really appreciate that. This is it's been a fun episode, man. I've enjoyed this holiday spectacular.
Yes, we did. We had a festive holiday thing.
Very festive. I'm glad we could be
Right.
back together. I'm glad that that you picked that movie because I was dying to hear about it. So that's great. And for everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on Podomatic or watching us on YouTube, either way, we appreciate the support. I've been Jesse Egan. You can check me out at Jesse Egan Comedy on all social media and Venmo. And Bob, where can people find you?
They can find me at Bob Hanson Jokes on Instagram, Twitter. Of course, the Bob Squad YouTube channel has all the good stuff. The Sun Bob's hardest part of the ring, the fun boxings, and hand jobs from Sucky Sucky Lucktown.
Yes.
That up on
Make
the
sure to go
YouTube.
by Dave's PB Ice Cream Company and visit Sucky Sucky Fucktown while you're there. And yeah, thank you guys so much. My other podcast, by the way, is called Awful Neutral. It's a comedy Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Feel like checking that out, please do. And make sure to check out Bob's new fun boxing episodes as well as his brand new film. He has just an amazing He-Man movie that I really think people should check it out. So
Please do.
and see it on the big screen. Don't watch it on your phone. I was watching on my phone. I said, this deserves to be on the big TV.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I've been Jesse. This is Bob. And happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Crazy Kwanzaa, and all the others. I don't know
Keep
what-
sailing, Bob.